So this is what happens when you select 2 points. Solidworks gives you a choice. You can either make them horizontal, vertical, fix, or merge. If you were to select the actual element, so if I were to select the line and control select the other element, based on the possibilities, Solidworks will give you a choice of these many options here. So I can make those lines horizontal. Let's see what happens when I click that. Right, we have 2 horizontal lines. I can make those 2 lines vertical, like so. I can make those lines collinear, so they're on the same lines now. I can make those 2 lines perpendicular, so there is one. Another one is actually out of sight somewhere. There it is. It went way out of bounds. We can make those 2 lines parallel, like so, and we have the indicator that confirms that these 2 lines are parallel. So if I were to grab onto these, try and move, they can do a little dance for us. And I'm going to see what happens when I click equal. Equals means equal in size, so I can move that round in that fashion. I want to see what happens if I stick that. Go to the origin, try and move that. There we go, they are growing equally. Let's see if we can make them equal and parallel. So I can select, control select the other one, parallel, so they will always stay parallel. I can stretch one, I can see the effect on the other, and they are always staying parallel. The reason I'm showing you this, because you may need to use all of these tools to produce a good sketch, and to constrain that in a certain way to satisfy the design intent. So depending on what geometries we have in our sketcher, Solidworks will come up with different options. For instance, if we have a couple of circles, let's see what happens when I select the center point, control select the center point for the other. We can apply a relationship like make those 2 center points at one horizontal level. So if I hit that, it's going to bring that circle down. I can make them at the same vertical level, or we can connect those two center points to get that effect. If I were to, instead of selecting the center points, if I were to select the actual entity, the circle, so selecting the smaller circle and selecting the bigger one, holding down control, it gives me a choice of making them tangent, concentric, equal, etc, etc. So let's see what happens when I make them tangent. Right, concentric, there we go, equal in size, no surprises there. So what happens when you are asking Solidworks to apply some sort of constraint? What it does, it's basically changing the later geometry. So for instance, you might be wondering why did it move this circle here to connect to the other one, and why did it shrink that one to make it equal size as this one? Because this one existed earlier than this second circle here. So let's try that on a simple example. So I'm going to clear everything in the graphics area. I'm going to draw myself a little line. Let's start with a simple example. I'm going to create that. There is my line which existed before, this line here. Now what happens when I select that, control select this line, make them equal? The one that came later shrunk to give that equal relationship. If I were to create another line now, and if I were to control select these two, as you can predict, the latest entity will grow. It will morph in a certain way to obey that constraint. Taking a step further, I want to see what happens when I have a circle in the space. Don't want to say that yet. And I have a line here. I can select the line, control select the circle, make it tangent like so, or I can actually start with a starting point, and I can make the line tangent to start with, like so. Another scenario, let's say I want to draw a rectangle. This time I want to draw a center to corner rectangle, so I'm going to choose the correct rectangle type, center rectangle. I want the center to snap onto the origin, and I want to draw myself a little rectangle, like so. Now I want to draw 4 circles at all of these corners. Basically, I want to draw a circle over here, I want to create another circle there, there, and over here. So I'm going to go into the circle tool. I have a couple of choices. I can eyeball that position. I can look for that endpoint indicator. So as you can see, my cursor changed to that endpoint. I can click when I'm there, and if I were to draw out, that gives me some sort of validity that I'm snapping onto the corner and I'm drawing my circle there. Or I can just produce a circle over here, and I can come back, select the center point, select the end point, and merge those together. Select that center point, select this corner, merge them together, whichever suits you best. Select that, control select the end point, merge together. Let's see what happens when I select all of those 4. So first circle, second, third, fourth, they're all different in size. I want all of them to be equal. I can apply that relationship there. I want to see what happens when I grab onto the end point of one of these corners of the rectangle. All of them move. Pretty cool. Good effect there. And I want to see what happens when I try and resize this circle. Right, that looks beautiful. Another tool within Sketcher, it's trim entity. So if you, let us just say, if you wanted to subtract the circle from this bit of rectangle now, so basically you want to remove this corner and obviously the circle, and you want to play with the rest, we can go into trim entities and we have a few options there. My favorite is trim to closest. Power trim also works, gives a really nice effect, very convenient times. I'm going to work with trim to closest, and the way that works, I'm going to basically switch that on if it is not on by default. Trim to closest will change your cursor to this particular one, so you have arrowhead and a scissor connected to it. Now I can select the bit I don't need, so trim will actually delete or remove an entity from intersection to intersection, like so. I can delete that bit of line, I can delete that bit of line, I can leave the construction because they don't really bother me. I can delete the circle there, these lines, like so. So basically normal click, confirm, and that gives us a body to work with. If you want, we can extrude that out. Let's just see how power trim works. I'm going to go into power trim, I'm going to select power trim, and obviously your cursor is exactly the same. What you have, this is the secret weapon, and what I'm doing now is it's a normal click and hold, and then if you go over the entity to delete that, like so, there we go. It's like you have this invisible chainsaw and you're hacking off stuff. I think it's very powerful, as the name suggests. I like that. So we can delete everything in this area, or we can bring it back by undoing. So that's trim for you guys. Let us look at a final tool, and then we'll create a little something. I'm going to clear the space, box select and delete. I want to draw a line, kind of horizontal line there, and I want to see if I can specify the dimensions for this line. So I'm going to select smart dimension, select the element, and I'm going to drop that number over there somewhere. Let's just say I wanted that about that much. That gives me a line of 100 millimeters. For instance, I want to draw a circle. I want to start from the origin, so I'm going to snap onto the origin, drag out. Now I want to specify the diameter of the circle. Like so. So if I were to create a little sketch for angled section, the L-shaped angle section, so I'm going to use this line tool here. I'm going to start on the origin, kind of go up north. I know I can always come back to a sketch and apply some sort of constraints and dimensions, so I'm not going to worry too much about the accuracy for the time being. I'm going to roughly sketch what the angle section looked like using a bunch of lines and making sure that I'm snapping at those horizontal and vertical indicators. Right, time to apply some dimensions. Smart dimension. I want this side to be, that's way too big, 75. Make it 750. I want this side to be 600. I want this side to be 150. Make everything 10 times bigger than I originally planned. And I want this side to be 150 again. Right, I'm sure you've noticed that our sketch, which initially was blue, now it is black. It is a fully constrained sketch. If you were to look near the clock here somewhere, it says fully defined sketch, and if I were to grab onto any of these vertices, we can't really move it. It is fully constrained, fully defined. It is a happy sketch. It's a good sketch. It's a good idea for you guys to leave these dimensions behind. You need to make sure that you are not leaving these numbers here or here. We're going to try and stick to good modeling practice, good drawing practice, so that you can pass on your drawing to anyone and it is readable, it is editable, or you can come back to this drawing and without much trouble you can read and change the numbers. This is what designers and engineers do. They come back, change their mind every now and again, redesign. So I want to be able to see these numbers nice and clear, so I can come back to them, double click on those numbers and change them to a different value for whatsoever reason. I'm going to apply 150 again. Confirm that. As I said, it's a good sketch, fully defined sketch. I'm going to exit it using this icon here, or we can go exit sketch from over here. Same effect. Now we have a sketch on the front plane. I'm going to go ahead and extrude that out. If the sketch is not pre-selected, you might need to select the sketch from the graphics area. Now we can apply some sort of a length. I wanted that to grow by 1000. Green tick to confirm, and there we have it. Our first model properly done. The shadows can be annoying, so I'm going to switch them off like so. Flow reflections are good. I like them. At any point in time, we can select this feature from the left hand side. We can edit the feature like so. Instead of 1000, I think I want 1250, and there we have it. Enjoy.